It started subtly, almost imperceptibly. I'm Quentin, a 44-year-old IT specialist living in Seattle. My wife, Bronte, a vibrant and successful real estate agent, had always been the outgoing one, the life of any party. We'd been married for 18 years, and while the initial spark had mellowed into a comfortable glow, I believed we were happy. Or so I thought. The first sign was her phone. Bronte had always been open with her devices, never hiding them or getting defensive if I glanced at her screen. But lately it was different. She'd clutch her phone possessively, angling it away if I came near. She'd spend hours texting, a secretive smile playing on her lips. When I asked who she was talking to, she'd brush it off. Just work stuff, honey. Then came the late nights. Bronte's real estate job often required evening showings, but these seemed excessive. She'd come home exhausted, her explanations vague. Just a difficult client, she'd say before collapsing into bed. I started to notice a faint, unfamiliar perfume clinging to her clothes, a scent that wasn't mine and certainly wasn't anything she owned. My unease grew. I tried to talk to Bronte to reconnect. I suggested date nights, weekend getaways, anything to recapture the closeness we'd lost. But she was always busy, always distracted. Maybe next week, Quentin, she'd say, her eyes glazed over. I'm just swamped right now. The final straw was the hotel receipt. It was tucked into her purse, a small slip of paper easily overlooked, but I found it while searching for a pen. The Grandview Hotel, room 312. It was dated for a Tuesday night, a night Bronte had claimed to be at a real estate conference in Portland. My heart lurched. Portland was a 3-hour drive. Why would she stay at a hotel in Seattle? I felt a cold dread creep over me. The pieces clicked into place. The secretive phone calls, the late nights, the unfamiliar perfume, the evasive answers. Bronte was cheating on me. The realization hit me like a physical blow, stealing my breath and leaving me reeling. I didn't confront her immediately. I needed proof, concrete evidence to shatter her inevitable denials. I hired a private investigator, a man named Cormac who came highly recommended. He was discreet, professional, and promised to get me the truth. The next few days were agonizing. I lived in a state of constant anxiety, pretending everything was normal while my insides churned with suspicion and hurt. I couldn't eat, couldn't sleep, couldn't focus on work. I was a shell of my former self, consumed by the fear of what Cormac might uncover. Then the call came. I have something you need to see, Quentin, Cormac said, his voice grim. He asked me to meet him at his office downtown. I arrived to find Cormac waiting for me, a thick envelope in his hand. He led me to a small conference room and laid out the contents, photographs. Bronte entering the Grandview Hotel with a man I didn't recognize. Bronte kissing him passionately in the lobby. Bronte holding his hand across a dinner table. The man was young, handsome, and oozed a confidence that I suddenly felt I lacked. Cormac also provided a detailed report. The man's name was Silas, a personal trainer at the gym Bronte frequented. They had been seeing each other for months, meeting for secret rendezvous at hotels, restaurants, and even Bronte's real estate office during lunch breaks. The evidence was irrefutable. Bronte was having an affair, a full-blown, calculated betrayal of our marriage. The pain was excruciating, a deep, visceral ache that threatened to consume me. I felt like I was drowning, gasping for air in a sea of despair. I went home numb. Bronte wasn't there. I sat in our living room surrounded by the artifacts of our life together, wedding photos, family portraits, souvenirs from our travels. Each object was a painful reminder of the love we once shared, the future we had planned, the promises we had made. When Bronte finally arrived, she seemed surprised to see me home so early. "What's wrong, Quentin?" she asked, her brow furrowed. I didn't say a word. I simply handed her the envelope. She opened it, her eyes widening as she recognized the photographs. Her face drained of color. "Quentin, I can explain," she stammered, her voice trembling. "Explain what, Bronte?" I said, my voice flat, devoid of emotion. "Explain how you betrayed me, how you lied to me, how you destroyed our marriage." She started to cry, tears streaming down her face. "It just happened, Quentin," she sobbed. "I didn't mean for it to go this far. Silas, he makes me feel alive, desired. You've been so distant lately." Her words were like salt in an open wound. She was blaming me for her infidelity, twisting the narrative to make herself the victim. "So it's my fault you cheated on me," I said, my voice rising. "Because I haven't been attentive enough. Because I haven't made you feel alive enough." "No, Quentin, that's not what I meant," she pleaded. "I'm just saying we haven't been the same for a while. I felt neglected, ignored, neglected." I scoffed. "I've been working my ass off to provide for us, to give you the life you wanted. And how do you repay me? By sleeping with some gym rat behind my back." "Don't call him that," she snapped, defending her lover. That was the last straw. Her blatant disregard for my feelings, her willingness to defend the man she had betrayed me with, ignited a rage within me that I didn't know I possessed. "Get out, Bronte," I said, my voice cold and hard. "Get out of my house. Get out of my life." She looked at me stunned. "Quentin, you don't mean that," she said, her eyes wide with disbelief. "He never been more serious," I replied. "I want you gone." Now she packed a suitcase, her tears flowing freely. As she walked out the door, she turned back to me, her face a mask of sorrow. "You'll regret this, Quentin," she said. "You'll see that I was the best thing that ever happened to you." I watched her go, feeling a strange mix of anger, sadness, and relief. The pain was still there, a dull ache in my chest, but beneath it a flicker of hope began to emerge. The hope that I could heal, that I could move on, that I could find happiness again. The divorce was messy, as expected. Bronte fought me every step of the way, demanding half of everything we owned. She even tried to claim that I was abusive, a desperate attempt to gain the upper hand. But I had Cormac's evidence and I had a good lawyer. In the end, she got what she was entitled to, but not a penny more. As for Silas, the personal trainer, I didn't confront him directly. I didn't need to. Bronte had already told me that he had dumped her as soon as the affair became public. He didn't want to be associated with a divorced woman with baggage, as she put it. Karma, it seemed, had a way of taking care of things. The months that followed were difficult. I struggled with loneliness, with self-doubt, with the constant reminders of what I had lost. I threw myself into my work, spending long hours at the office trying to distract myself from the pain. I started seeing a therapist, a kind and understanding woman named Isolde, who helped me process my emotions and rebuild my self-esteem. One day, Isolde suggested I try something new, something outside of my comfort zone. "Find a hobby, Quentin," she said. "Join a club, meet new people. Don't let Bronte's betrayal define you." I took her advice. I signed up for a photography class at the local community center. I had always been interested in photography, but I had never had the time to pursue it. The class was a revelation. I discovered a hidden talent, a passion for capturing the beauty of the world through my lens. I met new friends, people who shared my interests and supported my journey of healing. One of those friends was Genevieve, a fellow photography enthusiast. Genevieve was kind, intelligent, and had a wicked sense of humor. We spent hours together exploring Seattle's hidden gems, capturing its vibrant energy through our cameras. We talked about everything and nothing, sharing our hopes, our dreams, and our fears. Slowly, gradually, I began to fall in love with Genevieve. She was everything Bronte wasn't: honest, compassionate, and genuinely interested in me. She saw me for who I was, flaws and all, and loved me anyway. One evening, as we were watching the sunset over Puget Sound, I turned to Genevieve and said, "I think I'm falling in love with you." She smiled, her eyes sparkling in the golden light. "I think I'm falling in love with you too, Quentin," she said. We kissed, a soft, tender kiss that sealed our connection. In that moment, I knew that I had found something truly special, something worth fighting for. A year later, Genevieve and I were married. It was a small, intimate ceremony, surrounded by our closest friends and family. As I stood at the altar, looking into Genevieve's beautiful eyes, I felt an overwhelming sense of gratitude. Gratitude for the pain I had endured, for the lessons I had learned, for the journey that had led me to this moment. Bronte's betrayal had been the most devastating experience of my life, but it had also been a catalyst for change. It had forced me to confront my own vulnerabilities, to redefine my values, to discover my true potential. It had ultimately led me to Genevieve, the woman who had shown me what true love really meant. I never spoke to Bronte again. I heard through mutual friends that she had bounced from one relationship to another, never finding the happiness she had craved. Silas had moved on and she was left alone, haunted by the consequences of her choices. I, on the other hand, had found peace. I had found happiness. I had found love. and I had learned that even in the darkest of times, hope can always be found if you are willing to look for it. Years passed. Genevieve and I built a life filled with love, laughter, and adventure. We traveled the world, explored new cultures, and captured countless memories through our cameras. We supported each other's dreams, celebrated each other's successes, and comforted each other during times of hardship. One day, I received a letter in the mail. It was postmarked from a small town in Oregon, and the return address was unfamiliar. I opened it, my heart pounding with a sense of unease. The letter was from Bronte. She wrote about her regrets, her mistakes, her loneliness. She confessed that she had never stopped thinking about me, that she had realized too late what she had lost. "I know I don't deserve your forgiveness, Quentin," she wrote. "But I hope that one day you can find it in your heart to understand. I was young, foolish, and selfish. I made a terrible mistake, and I have paid the price ever since." She ended the letter with a plea. "Please, Quentin, if you can ever find it in your heart, I would love to see you again. Just to talk, to apologize in person. I know it's a lot to ask, but I have nothing to lose." I read the letter, my emotions swirling. Part of me felt a flicker of sympathy for Bronte, a recognition of the pain she had caused herself. But another part of me felt a deep sense of resentment, a refusal to forgive the woman who had shattered my world. I showed the letter to Genevieve. She read it carefully, her expression thoughtful. "What do you want to do, Quentin?" she asked, her voice gentle. I thought about it for a long time. I considered meeting with Bronte, listening to her apology, offering her some measure of closure. But in the end, I decided against it. I had moved on. I had built a new life, a life filled with love and happiness. Bronte was a ghost from my past, a reminder of a pain I had overcome. I didn't need her apology, her forgiveness, or her presence in my life. I had everything I needed right here with Genevieve. I wrote Bronte a short, simple letter. "I wish you well, Bronte," I wrote, "but I have moved on, I am happy, and I don't think it would be helpful for either of us to meet." I mailed the letter and never heard from her again. I closed that chapter of my life, knowing that I had made the right decision. Bronte's betrayal had been a defining moment in my life, a crucible that had forged me into a stronger, more resilient person. It had taught me the importance of honesty, loyalty, and self-respect. It had shown me that even in the face of unimaginable pain, hope can always be found, and that love can conquer all. And so, I lived my life, grateful for the love I shared with Genevieve, and forever changed by the betrayal that had led me to her.